Hey guys, I'm back with another Amstrad CPC Longplay and review. This time it's the turn of an arcade conversion of Strider, and quite a famous arcade machine. One of Capcom's best, definitely. And basically it's a side-scrolling sort of platform game, and it was quite well known for having sort of featuring different sort of countries and languages in the game. For example, there's a fair dose of sort of Russia in there in the first level or two, and then then it moves to the Amazon jungles, and then into Japan at some point, I believe. But mostly for the character you control, called Hiryu, I think that's how you pronounce it. It could leap and cartwheel around the screen, and climb up walls, and jump onto ceilings and hang off them, and slide about the floor, doing all sorts of clever sort of like ninja moves. So how on earth would that translate onto a humble 8-bit machine like the Amstrad and Speccy and Commodore? Well, not very well. We'll see shortly. Title screen, pretty basic, and we're already seeing sort of 4-colour graphics there, and the bottom sort of stays sparse. So this is going to be a Mode 1 game, and more than likely a Speccy port. That would be my first impression. And also the music, it's not very good. Don't quite recognise it being from the arcade. Perhaps it is, perhaps it's based on it, I don't know. But this conversion, guys, is handled by Tiertex, which US Gold often use a lot for their arcade conversions, and nearly all their games were shit. Anyway, we're starting up level 1 here, and here we go. And just like in the arcade, Hiryu, he flies in on that little sort of ship thing. Okay, right, well, we've got the cartwheels on the go there, and Hiryu, he flies around the screen rather nicely, quite well animated. But yeah, we've got 4-colour graphics on the go here, and it's all looking rather sort of sparse and barren. I mean, the arcade version, it was just full of colour and detail and background graphics, and you know, all sorts of things going off. This is just like we've just got a black screen basically. There's some decent animation on the go there, and as you can see, we already picked up a sort of special weapon, that thing that sort of flies around me. And we can pick up more. That's an extra piece of energy. And I believe just below me here is where we have a first sort of a mini boss encounter against some like a Russian wrestler. He's not that hard to deal with. But if you remember in the arcade version, as soon as you defeat him, all this fire comes down at you. Easily avoided. But nice they've added that in as a little touch. But yeah, sprites are a decent size, but the playing area is rather small, and it makes you quite sort of nervous leaping off into the distance. You're not quite sure sort of what's waiting for you. Yeah, we've got some obviously scrolling on the go there. Thank God it's not flip screen scrolling, but it's not exactly smooth. The smoothest scrolling on the 8-bit home computers is of course on the Commodore 64 version, but it moves a heck of a lot slower than this. And also on the Commodore 64 version, this is where the first level ends. It actually misses out the big boss at the end, as it does on quite a few of the other levels. But the Commodore 64 version probably looks the best, arguably. Here's the first boss. I was temporarily invulnerable there, so I just ran through him. Now, in the arcade, you can jump on its back and ride it around and smash it to pieces. You can't in this version. So what I like to do is just basically, happily lose a bit of energy there, leave myself invulnerable temporarily, and just get loads of hits in. Kind of a bit of a cheat, really. Or if you want to cheat, you can sort of jump back up to the left there, and you can actually jump over the barrier that comes up behind you, and you can safely just take them at distance, but it will take forever. That's the first level done. And being honest, guys, probably this first level is probably the hardest level in the game. There's 5 levels. It's not hard to complete this once you've played it through a couple of times and sort of know what to expect. So where are we now? I think this is the Siberian wilderness. Sound effects of the sword is okay, but it really starts getting on your nerves after a while. Here's the first mini boss, a big robotic ape. He's not too hard. He just moves back and forth basically. I think in the arcade game his like arm stretches out to grab you, but it doesn't happen. But yeah, it's a nice animation there, and he does move rather quickly. But this, guys, is a Spectrum port, definitely. Basically, the graphics and layouts and stuff is identical. But the Spectrum version actually moves a touch faster, actually, and just a touch smoother. So it's a shame we've got another Speccy port on our hands. But so far it's looking alright, but as we progress in this game, I'll start to lose more and more faith in this conversion, and I'll tell you why as we sort of move on. But yeah, what's the plot of this game quickly? Let's have a read up on the internet, on Wikipedia. Strider is set in a dystopian future in the year 2048, where a mysterious dictator known as the Grandmaster rules over the world. Hiryu, the youngest ever A-class member of an organisation of high-tech ninja-like agents known as the Striders, is alone tasked with the Grandmaster's assassination. Hiryu begins his mission by infiltrating the Grandmaster's capital at the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic. There you go. It's a little bit naughty having the first level against Russians, given it's the late 80s and the Cold War stuff. Yeah, now this section of the level misses out quite a bit of the arcade version. And there's like these power generators that send out electric bolts that are missing. There's also the helicopters you jump onto, those are missing as well. So that's the end of level bad guys there. I should be able to sort of jump and hang on to the ceiling and sort of like swipe at them, but I can't. But you can knock a little bit of energy off them. There's also a big gun thing that should be in front of me there that's missing. Yeah, so that collision section there was a little bit poor. These guys are pretty easy to deal with. There you go. And level 2 done. Now I think level 3 is out of order from what the arcade version is. Yeah, this is I think this is the Amazon level, which should be, I think that should be level 4, not level 3 on the arcade. But all the levels are present, but very sort of basic, stripped down versions of. In this Amazon level, there's supposed to be sort of like tree vines you can sort of swing off and bounce off, like that, but unfortunately it's static in this version, as it is in the Spectrum and Commodore versions. Oh yeah, we've got some Amazonian women there we're fighting. They're pretty easy. boomerangs. Ooh, nice and energy pickup there. Notice you got 3 blobs of energy in the bottom middle status bar there, and there's one blob there that's blue in colour. Basically that's the energy pickup where I picked up that sort of rotating flying weapon around me. So when I lose that piece of energy, which is coloured differently, I lose the special weapon that's sort of floating around me. Now in the arcade version, the special weapon changes from that to sort of like a robotic tiger on this level, I believe. So that's missing, but I can forgive the programs for that. Yeah, it's invulnerability temporarily there. Okay, this is missing the giant sort of dinosaurs. That's in the arcade. But you do get the rhinos attacking you. Well, what they look like rhinos. Oh yeah, there's piranha fish as well. Just below me there's a sort of Amazon river. They're present. But the rhino bosses are not present in the Commodore 64 version at all. So I don't feel too bad about the Amstrad version being sort of a bit crap. That's it, I think there's 3 rhinos to defeat. I think there's a giant sort of skeleton dinosaur boss in the arcade version. That's the final boss in that level, but that's missing. Now we're on to the last 2 levels, guys, and I want you to just basically keep a sort of a mental note and track of just how many enemies we have to fight in this level and in the next, because there's very few of them. And for the last 2 levels of the game, you'd think the programmers would throw all kinds of baddies at you and stuff, but it's completely sparse and barren and empty, like the backgrounds. There's hardly any enemies to fight, which is really strange. I know probably the 8-bit computers can't handle too many sprites on screen at one time, but to have them so far apart from each other. And the problem of having those monochrome backgrounds is you don't know which is a hole in the floor or whatever. Like whether you saw just back there. First time I played, I just dropped straight down that hole and died. But yeah, we'll just keep moving on. There's hardly anything to fight. I'm swinging my sword anyway, which is probably driving you insane from the noise it's making. But there's nothing really to fight. It's kind of ironic that the first level was probably the toughest in the game. Now, I think in this on the arcade, I think the walls are supposed to be closing in to crush you. You need to move quickly. It's not present here. And I think at some point, either on this or on the final level, it turns into like reverse gravity. I think that'll be asking too much of an Amstrad Spectrum, really. We're coming up to sort of a mid-level boss, which is quite bizarre because he also appears in the next level as well. It's the giant metallic sort of meatball thing that sort of spins around and sends you hurtling around the screen. Now, on this version, which is he's just about below, he's just down that hole there. Whatever you do, if you drop down, you always land on him. And I was trying here to see if I could land smack on the middle of him in the centre, that I would, not lose any energy. But also in the arcade version, you can sort of like run around the walls and like run round and end up on sort of like running on the ceiling. But not here. No, you just fall straight down into him there with nothing to stop you. So you always lose a piece of energy there for no reason. And this is one of the most bizarre sort of boss encounters I've come across in the game. It's basically just a stationary round object that does nothing, shoots nothing, doesn't move, and all we need to do is just maintain a bit of a distance, jump up and swipe at it for bloody ages. And it's just a bit pathetic, really. it's like the programmers got, you know, there you go, got through like the first couple of levels and then just couldn't be arsed. As typical Tiertex. And here's the end of level boss. That is so shit. His whip thing doesn't even reach me, but my sword does, so we just stand there swiping away. Pathetic. So yeah, we had about 3 or 4 sort of like guards running about with guns and sticks that we shot there. 2 or 3 sort of gun emplacements, and that was it, apart from the boss encounter. And it's pretty much the same on this level, guys, as well. There's really nothing to fight. This is a pretty poor conversion. Made worse being, you know, by being a sort of Speccy port. And the Spectrum version sort of moves and plays a touch quicker as well and smoother. But oops, Commodore 64 version looks like it's going to be. Looks like it should be the best version, but plays far too slow. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention we're missing a critical move as well. Hiryu, he can like do this sort of sliding move along the floor. Now he can take out loads of bad guys with that. That's completely missing. Oh yeah, and this is the anti-gravity area, I think, where you sort of run along the ceiling and stuff. Yeah, they've copped out of that. And I think we've got another sort of meatball boss here. Exactly the same as before. Can't avoid him. At least I don't think you can. If any of the people have played the Amstrad Speccy version now, then feel free to comment. But yeah, this is a real sort of half-assed, you know, half-baked version of the arcade original. Wasn't expecting miracles because it's quite, you know, a big and complicated game. There's an awful lot that goes on in it. But you know, they could have given a bit more challenge here. So yeah, this is pretty much it, guys. There's another boss. The final boss is coming up, and it's just a repeat of the. I think it's a repeat of the robotic gorilla thing that we saw on level 2. You don't actually get to fight the Grandmaster, which is pretty. That's a shame. It's pretty pathetic as well. And here we are. So we don't even have to get to have the final confrontation. And there's a really crap ending as well, just a sort of a text screens. Well, we'll see in a second anyway. And here's the final boss. It is absolutely dead easy. You can just basically stand just about there. There I am. And then oops it up. Oh, I've got plenty. I've still got energy left. And then follow him back, getting lots of swipes on him. So yeah, I'm gonna score. I think if I give this, I don't know, I'm erring between 6 or 6.5 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10, that'll do. And that's it, you passed the test, now start your mission. What kind of end level, you know, completion screen is that? Now start your mission, haven't we just been playing a bloody mission? No, I think I'll take this down to 6 out of 10. Yeah, no, I'll 6.5 out of 10. I like the animation, how he moves and stuff. But you know, if you guys have seen the Mega Drive version, even the Master System one, if any of those sort of Sega fans will sort of come on and watch this video, I can understand you thinking this is absolutely pathetic. But it's not too bad for an 8-bit. But yeah, no, 6.5 out of 10, whatever. That'll do. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll probably take a look at Strider 2 next, the unofficial conversion, also done by Tiertex. I'll perhaps have a look at that next. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll let you enjoy the, enjoy the rest of the music. Thanks, and goodbye.